second. Yep. Okay. Now, first of all, let me thank SIT Startup Ignition team to have formed this beautiful platform for this ecosystem. Thanks, Manoj. Thanks, LK. And a special thanks to my mentor, Mr. Dinakar, to have brought me onto SIT and to allow me to explore various facets. Now, with that brief introduction, SITchat again is an awesome place where we can learn a lot, where we can exchange a lot of ideas. Now, when Dinakar called me up to take up this topic, I was perplexed to one extent. But later I thought I also put a poll on our various groups asking if at all you wanted to choose money, you wanted to choose machines, you wanted to choose awesome location, or you wanted to choose people. If you are allowed to choose one as a business guy, as an entrepreneur, what would you want to choose? And I wasn't surprised, because me being in human resource, that the majority of them, overwhelmingly above 85%, the votes went to choose human resource. That is what matters the most. And we have seen time and again that the right people at the right place is at the right time is what is going to be that stepping stone for success. Let's today actually hear a little about what I have gained through my experience. One second. Okay, may I at this juncture ask at least one or two of you to please tell me, what is a dream company for you to work? Which is that dream company for you to work? Anybody can go for it. Please, quick. Which is your dream company? Nobody raises, then I'll pull up. LK.
A global company like Google or something.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Muthu. And what about LK and Manoj? What according to you is that one dream company you want to work for?
So, Sagar, I would give preference to the company where I get freedom to work.
Name the company, please.
Oh, you want names?
Yes.
Apple.
Okay, good. Manoj, मैं Indomie में नहीं बताऊंगा, फिर भी if you can tell me that one company name.
Yeah, it has to be Indomie.
उसको छोड़ के, apart from Indomie.
I mean, someday if we can form it as a company, I think SID.
Lovely. Okay, fine.
Lovely.
Now, these are the two companies that I always dream to work for. Virgin Galactic and Tata. No, I did not end up working, though I aspired for it. God had other plans. He did not. Now, there's a particular reason. I'll come back to why I wanted to work for these two companies only. But nevertheless, I aimed for the star. God ended me up in these stars. These are the brands that I work for. Now, why I have written these two in line is, I'm so happy and thankful that I work with these companies. These companies are the ones that shape me what I am today. Now, why I wanted to work for these two? Virgin Galactic, basically, I wanted to work because I was so amazed by this personality called Sir Richard Branson. The aura that he is, the difference that he made to the society, and the impact that he had to the whole environment is what I always looked at. Yes, of course, you can look at, hey, then what about Virgin Atlantic and Virgin Galactic, the pollution that they are making? But otherwise, look at him. This guy alone manages around 365 companies. Even if he gives one company per day, he can't attend to all those companies, but he still is managing such a big empire. Tata, of course, every Indian, Desh Ka Namak Tata, that is where this whole thing is. That is the brand that they created. The nation building what Tata did, that is what moved me the most, that I always wanted to work with Tata. Now, at one end, that was a person who was inspiring me to work for Virgin Galactic. At the other end, right from Jamshedji, the legacy that they built for India is what moved me. Now, when this is happening, what happened over here? Here also, I was so happy because every one of these companies were in a part of nation building, were giving back to the society, were a part that actually imbibed a lot of right value systems in me. I was always happy. And if you ask me, God chosen, if at all, I'm happy being an entrepreneur now, But in case if I'm supposed to buy any one of these companies, I'm happy to buy all these companies. I wish that I will be able to buy. I know I'm dreaming a very big one, but that's okay for me. I'm happy with those dreams. But these companies I want to buy for those certain reasons, the brand that they are, the value systems that they are, the nation building that they do, the impact that every individual working in these companies are. This is what inspired me. And that I would one fine day want to be like them or buy them on the lighter note. Now, with that, what happened is I found this company called as Potent to Set. Now, you heard of a very comical phrase called as an accidental prime minister, though it is a joke. I am an accidental entrepreneur. Sorry, not an entrepreneur. I'm a planned entrepreneur, but an accidental recruiter. It so happened that one of my boss, after I left the company, wanted to fill a position. He called me up and he asked for reference. I gave a reference and it was just like one day the placement was done. Like that, it repeated in the same company with other managers as well, with around 2 to 3 times. And my manager called me up. He said, hey, you know what? You have this good knack. You have a knack of understanding what exactly we need. And you are giving us something like that. Why don't you start this as a business? That is where Potent to Set was born. Potent to Set basically means potential to scout, search, screen excellent talent. And I repeat, this is what is one of the mantras for a great success that you can. Now, when I started thinking, thanks to my mentor, who is also the presenter host today, he taught me this one little phrase over there that I've written: to create world-class companies and exceptional leaders. That is what Samuthána, that is Mr. Dinakar's company, also does. That moved me, and in whatever that I do today in my businesses, I always keep this in mind. Along with that, what also guides me is to empower individuals and impact positively in people's life. This is what moved me to be an entrepreneur in the right value system, what I have previously worked for. And with this is what Potent to Set stand for. But today we are not here to actually talk about Potent to Set. We are here to talk about hiring the best. What if you or your company or your clients or anybody of this hiring space, that is somebody wants manpower, what are the best things that they need to do to hire the best? Now, let me just mull over a few things. First thing is preparation. That is something very important. All of us over here, gentlemen, we know shaving is something that most of us would not like, but unfortunately, we still have to do it. And we've heard of this phrase called as a good lather is half shave done. Now, why do I say this in this context is your hiring does not start when a person vacates and you've got a job description. It actually starts way before that itself. It starts from your brand presence. Your brand presence everywhere across. And your brand presence, if it is based on your value and culture, it shall speak for itself. So ensure that your brand is speaking even when you're not speaking. Your brand is awake when you are asleep. This is what you'll have to ensure to hire the best of the best over there in the market. Now, Sagar wanted to work with Tata. Oh, alag baat hai, Tata did not allow me. I never applied. That is the difference. But Sagar still feels so bad that I could not work for them. That is something that you will have to create for the entire world to know that they have to be at your threshold holding their resumes. One small opportunity, people want to jump into your ship. That is what you need to start creating. Now, SIT also, future, when it wants to be a company, it has to be this value and culture driven company for people to join. That is what it is. How do you practically do that? Look, this is a new age. So this age, social media and other platforms is where you need to really work on and create your brand. The impact that you are going to have on a society is going to speak volumes. You need to go sponsor meetups. You need to go sponsor in colleges. You need to pick up social projects. You need to sponsor those and do a lot of CSR activities. Show that you really want to impact to the society. And what also is very important is the review your portal monitoring. That is, there are so many portals out there. For example, mouthshed.com, Glassdoor, there are your employees who would go there, give reviews. you have to keep monitoring those and ensure that you've got all positive. If there is something over there, please note that, take that very seriously, come back to your company and start reviewing that, and where you can correct, that is what you have to start doing. Now, after all this is done, your banner to the outside world is your job description. Now, when it is about creating the job description is where it comes about the process. Now, these are the processes what I would suggest that anybody should start following. That is, you need to ensure that your culture is so very evident and clear, not just with your job description or other publicity things that you are having out there. You need to set that culture right from the word go within the organization and every practice that you do. Once your job description is done with the culture banner, then you also have to make sure your internal branding is up to date and everybody speaks the same language. What if your job description is there out and one person, David, calls up another person, Aslam, in your company, and Aslam says something bad about your company? What will happen to all the beautiful job description that you've done? No. Every employee of your company should speak that culture, what you are meaning to do in the business. That you need to ensure that employee engagement in those terms are there up to the grassroots level. You need to ensure even your lowest cadre, in case that is the housekeeping, okay, even he knows what the company stands for. We know that beautiful stories of what happened during the bomb blast in Mumbai in Taj. Okay, that is what we all have to learn from internal branding of value systems and culture. Now, the moment you have a requirement, it doesn't mean that you need to go to the market. First one is look at your competency mapping within your organization, IJT, that is internal job transfer. If there are possibilities, try to give opportunity for those jobs within your own house. And once that is not fulfilled, then it is up to you to go out. And when you want to go out, please leverage on all the available tools, right from social media to portals to all the other groups that are there or paid postings, etc. But before that, ensure you have done your competency mapping and fulfill those requirements internally. Then if between this, you can also do something called as the employee referral schemes. Ask your employees, create this as an environment that your vault in your organization is filled with references. And these references come from your own company people. When that comes, it will be helpful to you because they are coming from a strong referral and that your credibility of that person who's joining is high. So ensure that employee referral schemes are in place. Once they are in place, you are bound to get one of the best resources for your company. You need not have to spend extra penny over there at all. But if your employees are not referring, that is an indicator that there is something wrong. So go ahead and do a litmus test and then ensure that you're doing all the things necessary to up your brand. Now, we all know that attrition is common and a healthy attrition is also very important. But some people would have left for some reasons. It is not a bad thing at all to reach out to your ex-employees who have been really good when they were there and who want to come back. Always reconsider them. So have a database of your ex-employees. Always send your job descriptions back to them. And in case they want to come back, please consider them. Let there be no vengeance at all. Have an open door system for them. Of course, they need not have, if in case they were nasty, then you can take a call of not hiring. But otherwise, please welcome with open hands and a warm welcome to them. And they will really be grateful to you. The gratitude is immense that they are going to have towards you. Next, you will have to look at these exit interviews that happens. We all know that exit interviews speaks a lot. And when some employees are leaving your company, ensure that you've got not just 2 years, you've got 4 eyes, 6 eyes, and then some 1 dozen years to hear out what they said and try to go correct accordingly. Once these exit interviews, they are out and you are going to close loop telling them that, hey, look, this is what you had given us and we worked on this. Your branding is going to go multi-folds. That is something what most of the organizations today are not doing. They don't take these exit interviews seriously. Ensure that exit interviews are up to date, and wherever possible, closed loop. Of course, exit interviews is the went out time for quite a lot of employees at most of the times. But you should be clever enough, you should be judicious enough to filter out and take up genuine cases and work on those. Now, in your organization, there will be a website. There will be a career page in that. Ensure that this career page is updated and this is flying across the social media platform, right from Twitter to LinkedIn to Instagram to all the other new age social media. This new age that is coming over here, they are all this experience generation, what I call them. So ensure that you are there on all those platforms. When all this is there, everything is done, you have got certain profiling profiles that have come to you. These profiling screening, you will have to do judiciously. There has to be a discipline to that. Every profile that comes, if you are able to not reply back to them, then that is a negative for you. Ensure that every profile that comes to you, either if you want to make it as an automated reply, telling, hey, we have received your profile, it is in the queue, we'll get back to you. That one small automated response also is going to have a great impact about your company, and that other guy over there will be waiting to hear you out. So this is something that you should always ensure that your company has a closed loop system. That is what most important is communication. Quite a lot of the time we've got job description or social media or other groups or even on email campaigns. Now those guys apply and it comes, but we never respond to them. That is a bad sign. We should never do that. Ensure that communication is great. And after that, during the interview, now your screen, you've had a seamless interview schedule that is scheduled to the candidate, and that candidate ensure that his journey to your company is also smooth. That is, have you got your train tickets? Have you got your bus? This is where you've got to come. This is where. Till he reaches you, ensure that you or anyone that you deploy on your behalf is doing that, because this journey makes them very happy. That process of interview is what is going to ensure that he is going to join. Now, once he is here, ensure that you have a great hospitality over there. That is, he has a right seating place, he has got a right room to sit, he has been asked for water, coffee, tea, etc. No matter even if it is bulk hiring, ensure that your hospitality is top notch. Leave no stone unturned to hospitality. And that feel good factor is what is going to make the most of it. Now, during the interview panel, during the interview, what is most important is you can't sit there and read his profile. Ensure that you have read his profile, you have made note of it. At that time, what happens? The guy who has come for interview, he knows that you have done your homework, and that makes it very serious. Ensure that your interview panel is much in advance aware of what you are interviewing for. The job description is understood. The purpose of the job description is well understood. And also during the interview, your company's policies about your company has to be explained well in detail, okay, and also about the job. Why are you hiring him? More than you asking him, why do you want to join? You'll always have to give this, why do you want to hire him? Does he have those 1, 2, 3, 4 qualities in him? So explain to that guy well in detail. And for this, preparing your interview panel is very important. They can't do it casually. You can't schedule other meetings and then tell, hey, wait for half an hour, wait for 1 hour, I have another meeting. Please never do that. It frustrates. And people have always not joined a company because of their interview experience not so being good. So that is something what we have to pay important for. Post-interview, leverage technology. Once the guy has attended interview, you have got his data. Right from contacting him back, either of the cases, whether he's selected or not selected, ensure that you leverage technology to stay in touch with that candidate. Probably today that candidate might not be a fit for you, but tomorrow he might be. And this entire experience, even if he is not selected, then he's going to speak volumes to you and he is always going to come back. In case he is selected, ensure that after the interview till his onboarding process, you are going to leverage all those systems in place and utilize the technology over here to ensure you have got a smooth onboarding, and after onboarding, it is going to be awesome journey for him. That is what you have to be most paying attention to. That is post-interview to onboarding process. make sure that this guy is always in touch, because in this era, a guy walks out with one offer letter, and with that offer letter is going to go elsewhere and say, hey, look, I've got X now, will you pay me X plus something? And that X plus delta is what is going to make Y. But if you are going to have a good communication and are going to be in touch with this guy, giving a great feeling, then I'm sure even if you pay X into X, he's not going to go elsewhere. That is something what you have to ensure. And with that, what is most important is it is not about hiring the best. It is about hiring the right people. Now, why do I say this? It is not the best. The first ranker, a gold medalist, might not be the right fit for your company, but a right fit for you might be one that is going to answer to your organization today. The business needs, the culture fit. This is something that you need to keep monitoring in this entire process. It is only then where you are going to have the best of the best talents joining you. When you have done all this and still within the company, if you are not able to place, then always come to good consulting guys like us called as Potent to Set HR Consulting, where we will help you hire the right talent over there for you. Okay. And I'm done with sharing whatever my experience to hire the best talent for you. I'm open to answer any of those queries to the best of my possibilities.
Yeah, Sagar, thanks a lot, first of all, for a very short and a quick overview of the various HR good practices. Now, I have first fundamental question, which is possibly a kind of a conflict. See, you speak about brand building, you spoke about having a good brand to hire the best. As a startup, there is no brand. We are starting at this point without any brand. So what do you think should be the approach of a startup without a brand at all? That is the first question. Second question is when there are a lot of processes which are possibly more applicable for a established company. In a startup, there is no processes. If a startup has a processes, then it is not a startup. They should really go by trying it out, experimenting it. So what would be your suggestions to accessing and reaching out to those great talent for a startup? Because talent is more required for a startup than a established business. You can unshare your screen if you want.
I would. Yeah, 1 second, please. Okay. Dinakar, I would kind of not agree where you would say that a startup does not have a brand. See, you can start talking, this is what I have formed my company for. For example, Potento said, when it said that my brand is going to speak about creating world-class companies and exceptional leaders. Of course, credits to Samuthána to have taught this. Now, when I start speaking that is what is going to speak about my brand. This is what I want to do. So even if you are on day one, you can tell why are you there in this business? You are there for doing something like this. And once you do this, then I think the problem of this brand issue is resolved. And when you mention about when there are no processes, it is absolutely fine. You need not have to have a process A, B, C, D, E already defined. No, it is okay. There are basics that your job description has to be there. Your company details have to be there. Without this, you can't start. Or even if that is not there, when you are going to talk to a candidate, when you are going to reach out to a candidate, you are going to reach out through a medium, right? In that medium, you have to say all that it is possible. And that is where it all starts with. Even the greatest of the companies today started with zero, right? So they hired their first one, probably through the known reference. And even when it comes through a known referral, you need to talk about your company. You need to talk about your culture. So do not hesitate to talk about that, even if it is verbal based. Absolutely no problem.
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks a lot. And as you said, I think the most viable channel for a startup would be through referrals, through known people, because if you even talk about what you want to do, what is your purpose, noble, and all those things, you won't be able to really excite people who really don't know you, because that brand is not known in the market. You need time to build up the brand. Thanks a lot. And now, Vinayak, the others who want to ask a question or contribute to the discussion, please raise your hand so that I can take you in the next queue. Vinayak, please go on.
Yeah, Sagar, thank you. It was a wonderful session till now. Okay, learned a lot. So I have a very, very curiosity question. Okay, it always mind boggles me. See, there are so many layoffs happening in, say, in Amazon, happening in Google and all that stuff. Okay, they will, they get sacked, but they will always try to go for a brand. And people like us who are willing to give a life, okay, work hard so that we can pay salaries and all for people like them. We will never get that talent. Even if they're sacked, they will try to go to another brand. So what do you think we can do to improve our brand value so that we get people who are willing to work with us? Maybe we may not be able to match their salaries, perks and all that stuff. But one thing we are assured that on 1st of every month, you'll get your salary and you're not sacked. Thank you.
Yes, Vinayak, when you mentioned about the layoffs, okay, now look, you might have a sympathy factor for the layoffs, but you know what? The other guy has already been making money and there are results. Now, there are, when it is about joining your company, there is always, or your company in the sense, a startup company, there is one small skepticism in his mind that will I be paid equally enough? The reason for this is he is already in this EMI, probable reason in EMI, or in this stigma of I have already worked in a brand, I might not be settling down there. There, one trick that you can deploy is, now you need to reach out to this. This is what headhunters do. They reach out to them and they explain to them, hey, look, this is what it is. Would you want to try? Now, would you want to match up with equal pay? Would you want to match up with equal pay plus ESOPs? Would you want to match up with pay plus a co-founder level? If you want that talent, you should be ready to actually match with something of let go also. Now, if any startup or if those companies which are not at that brand level, if you are able to think in that ways, then hiring those talent also is not at all a challenge. Now, you need to understand one thing in this entire journey, when he is laid off, when he is looking out, what is the purpose that he is looking out? And are you meeting out his purpose? That is something more important. If his purpose is money, and if you cannot match that money, then it is a mismatch. You don't have to worry at all. You don't have to work hard at all. But if his purpose is, look, I am striving for an identity, will you be able to give an identity? Because I've made money enough. Now it is time for me to unleash the power within. If you are able to answer that, for this, Vinayak, what you will have to do is spend some time observing this person on various platforms, talking to them a couple of times, even without an actual offer at the moment. Once you are able to strike a chord with them, then you will be able to understand what is that you can offer. It's not just because he is there in the shelf, you can take him. No, that doesn't happen. Now you need to tell what you got. You need to actually lure him to your doorstep. And that can happen through dialogues.
Thank you, Sagar. LK, please go on. LK, are you there?
LK Bhau, Sagar.
Hello.
Yeah, please go on. Please go on.
Yeah, Sagar, fantastic. I mean, very good. The whole process you have shown is really, really useful. I mean, I could see that several loopholes which in the process which I was following, some of the bullets were missing in my process also. So thanks for enlightening with this, and going forward we'll definitely implement that. One or two questions for you. First question is when and how to check if we have hired right person. You said it's a question of hiring right, not the good or best. So when should we check? Because we will do some process, we will hire. Once the person is in, when we should check whether this was a right hire or not. And second is how we should do that. Second question in relation with that, if we come to know that the hire is not good, then what we should do?
Now, a good question, by the way. Okay. Now, this is always this, 50-50 thing that we there. Even, worst is when we recruiters have got this feeling. A guy has already taken an offer letter. Even on the day of joining, till he reaches there, our recruiters, unka dil aise dhadakta hai. Have they reached, etc., etc. But now, whether you've heard or hired right or not, look, during hiring process, during the interview panel, there is something called as the KPIs. That is a recruitment KPI. Now, this recruitment KPI usually has got certain tick boxes. Whether this guy is joining us for so and so purpose, whether this guy is a culture fit, whether this guy has got a previous history of any problem in his existing company. Now, before you offer him or even after offering him, in the offer letter, there has to be one clause that there is going to be a background check as well. Now, in this background check, not about just his certificates, you also can do a background check about calling up his previous employee through with his permission. That is, he has to give us references. When you do this background verification, you'll get certain points. Now, along with that, what is also very important is you can also take up something called as the psychometric tests. These psychometric tests, to a great extent, help you to make your decisions right. That is, it is going to vet whatever you have observed and otherwise. There are psychometric tests to an accuracy level of up to even 90%. You can use that. Wow. Okay. Now, once you start, in fact, SIT itself has got one such member, okay, who does this psychometric test to up to 90% over here, right in Bangalore. Okay. Now, once you have got this person on board, you have got roles and responsibilities clearly written down. With this roles and responsibilities that is written down, you will have to create a matrix and give this matrix to achieve quarter by quarter. Within 1 or 2 quarters, you'll be able to observe their performance. Now, what majority of the good companies do is they've got an appraisal system every quarter. Now, during this appraisal system, it is an automatic appraisal system. That is, this quarter you had to achieve so and so. All that matters is whether they have put in so and so effort and they have achieved. If they have not achieved, then have a counseling session with them. Try to understand why they have not been able to achieve. Will you, is it possible for you to enable them by giving a little more resource, by giving them a little more help? There might be that they are coming from different culture and because of that, they might not be able to adjust. Now try to help them. There is something called as the performance management system. We should not be looking at PMS at the end of the year. We should have a good performance management system, which is supposed to be live. Now, there is a few of the good companies, which is having a mechanism of lunch with your leader. Okay, that leader will have to keep getting engaged. This employee engagement, even at the lunch table, can do a lot of difference, and you will be able to know whether you have hired right or not. In case you feel in this entire journey that you have not hired right, at that time, try to train him, mentor him, coach him. If nothing works, do one thing simple over a breakfast. Explain to him, hey, look, you are great talent. However, probably we have a cultural mismatch. I will help you outplace if required. If you can find your job, fine. Else, I will let us work for an outplacement where your culture might fit better over there. With that, you are having a very smooth transition from your company, and that employee will always be grateful to you. I hope I have answered your question, LK.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much. Very well answered.
So thanks a lot. Hemant, would you like to please go on with your question? Introduce yourself and then ask the question, please.
Sagar, I think it was good. My name is Hemant Bhange. I am currently in Nigeria. I am working for a quantum group here as a group president operations here in Nigeria. I am Lakshmikant's friend and stay in the same complex. So I think Lakshmikant introduced me to this group. So Lakshmikant, thank you very much for introducing me to this group. It was a good takeaway.
Pleasure.
I have 2 questions. One is, I think all of you in this group, I'm sure, must be recruiting a lot of people. And this online recruitment, somehow I have been recruiting many people in throughout career. But I found that some of the cases really went wrong because of this online. When you meet one-to-one, the body language, the eye contact, and this thing. and some blunders at senior positions, which I really said, oh, this is the same person who I interviewed, selected based on the profile and this thing. So maybe Sagar, you can throw some light on what are the things which we should take care when we are doing online interviews. Of course, okay, that is very basic, I think, fundamental for many of us. Second thing is, what I was saying, JD normally is treated as input to the recruiting agency. And, the closed looping also when the employee joins, it doesn't start with actually JD. So JD is considered as input to the agency. That's all. So how do you see this? And I always, have struggled to see that JD is the starting document when the employee comes, because this is based on that only we have floated the requirement, and that's what you are coming in. So how do you take this 2 points, please?
Well, I understood your first question. Second question, I haven't understood. I'll come back to that. Now, Hemant, coming to this online interviews, right? Yes, more than 50% of the times, whatever you said is absolutely right. You will be shocked to know whether this is the guy whom you had met. Now, during this online, there is something that you are not able to judge this company in his entire body language. Now, during an interview process, it is not just about technical, or it is not just about his English. It is about his body language. Hey, look, how is his eye movement? How is his body, that is shoulder moving? Is it drooping? How is he sitting in a right posture? All this says a lot. And during a face-to-face interview, there is always an opportunity to be more empathetic and ask questions, and he also will be able to express. Now, during online, majority of the time, this doesn't happen. Now, how do you overcome this? Please do not conclude your online meeting with just one round. If possible, always try to have one last round at least in person. But whatsoever reason, if you're not able to, try to have at least 2 or 3 rounds of online interviews. In the first online interview, you could have your technical or functional skills assessment. In the second one, you could ease him out. You can give him case studies, which can be actually prompting him, how is he going to behave? Okay. In this scenario, you will be able to understand a lot. You can actually give hypothetical situations. You can start talking to him on real case studies and see how is he going to behave instantly. And once he starts doing those, you will be able to get out of your experience and out of your interview panel's experience this thing. The third one is have a very casual round. That is again half an hour to 40 minutes, talking to him more about his dreams, his visions, his family. And this is where out of these 3 rounds, you should be able to mark up something and come to some understanding. Hemant, I also want to make one thing very clear. Look, interview process is not like a fast food chain, fast food at all. Please ensure that you are investing ample time for this interview process, because this person who is coming into your company can be that catalyst, can be that change maker in your company. In case you go wrong here, that could go a wrong hire could really be disastrous at most of the times, especially when you mentioned about the senior management. I specialize in hiring senior management, Hemant. And what I do is, even if it is supposed to fly to some other city to meet somebody in person, I do that. I meet that because when I am representing my company, my client, I ensure that I leave no stone unturned to meet that person and then give a right picture about it. Along with that, what also you should be doing during your online interviews is have a social media profile given to you. Once that social media profile, a little bit of background study even before the interview will be able to tell you whether this guy is speaking, whether whatever he is thinking. For example, his thought process, his philosophy on social media, which he has written around 2-3 years ago, might not be the same thing what he's talking now. So have a little bit of recruitment intelligence. Now, I hope I've answered the first question. With your second question, would you very precisely ask me what your second question is? I understood it is about job description, but if you can precisely tell me.
Many times I've seen that the HR people themselves, they treat JD as just a document to start the recruitment process for the recruitment agency to float them. When the employee joins, okay, he doesn't start with the JD on the first day, and that is not considered. So what is your take on?
Okay, Hemant, see, this is something very, very interesting question. You know why? Now, the HR department, according to me, though I did never worked in the HR department till I was working with the brand that I had mentioned. I work with a department called as strategic sourcing. Strategic sourcing is the techno-commercial of vendor development, part development, etc. Now, what made me very easy when by the way, I do recruitments only for mechanical engineers or people who are required in these manufacturing firms, engineering firms. What made it very easy for me is whether they give me a JD or not, I will be able to understand that what exactly is the requirement. For example, there is a requirement for a store manager. Now, when there is a title called store manager, I need not have to have a guy who is supposed to be a strategically thought process oriented guy. All that he has to be doing is high levels of integrity, very quick turnaround time for him to fetch those parts, and his meticulous way of managing things. Now, when you mentioned about job description, this is English, Hemant. That is 1 to 10 points, your roles, responsibilities, etc. But this does not speak much about what is the KPI that he is supposed to answer, or what is the expectation of the manager, reporting manager, or what is the expectation of the business with that. Most of the time, if you see, this job description does not change even after years. It remains the same. Though the company would have changed in its culture, etc., the job description remains the same. Now, this is up to the hiring manager to ensure that he is having a right job description. The HR is fed with the right job description so that when the candidate joins the first day, he is actually welcomed with the right matrix that he has to answer. Now, what also is very important is the HR manager need to have one dialogue. If you are employing a recruitment consultant, one dialogue with the hiring manager so that everything what the hiring manager has in his mind is percolated into that recruitment agency, or even the you have got internal talent acquisition teams. That particular gentleman, that particular staff who is handling, he should understand what is that hiring manager looking for. Once he is able to understand, he will be able to actually edit the job description accordingly to the best possible, and the candidate is exactly having what the company or the hiring manager is looking for. Then there will be no differences. That is what I opine about.
Sagar, just to add, maybe you can also say that the better recruiters in the market would normally verify with the talent manager whether they can speak to the hiring manager directly to understand what the requirement is and to match that, so that the mismatch will not be there.
Yes. I mean, that is exactly what we do at Potato Set, Dinakar. I'll give you an example. One hiring manager has been hesitant to talk to us for his own reasons. Now, nevertheless, I have to honor the client. So we have been giving profiles, but it is not getting shortlisted. Now, finally, I had to end up calling the managing director of that company and tell him, hey, look, this is what. Look, whatever you've asked for, we are matching, and because I understand the industry, I have been giving you the right profiles, but I want to understand why it is not. Later, okay, I will not want to quote, of course, I will never want to quote who the client is. Later, I come to understand that this position is vacant from past 2 years, and nobody is able to fill this only because this particular hiring manager does not want anybody over there because it would be a threat to him. That was about a deputy to him. So we were able to only crack this after we was able to speak to that particular managing director. So you rightly said that you should be speaking to the hiring manager. Even if it is your internal talent acquisition team, they have to have a good relationship and talking what exactly are they looking for. Whatever they are looking for sometimes is not on paper. Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, Supriya ji, please.
Thank you. Thank you.
Comment question.
Yeah, like you said, certain times the job description wouldn't have changed for a couple of years and it stays constant. Nobody would have put an effort to detail it out. In that case, if there is no assessment done, you would have hired the wrong person as well. But that hired candidate might be with the right attitude. So how do you try to attend to such situation?
See, you have answered your own question, Supriya. If the guy is with right attitude, okay, then he is tameable. Always hire for the attitude. Your skills can always be trained. If you've got the right attitude, you can tame them. So, I mean, that does not fit for a wrong hiring. That still holds good as a right hiring. He might not have, out of the 10 skills, he might not have the skills for 5. If you are confident enough, you can always train that person. As simple as that. So don't consider it as a wrong hire.
Yeah. So now, thanks a lot, Sagar. I have one request. Maybe we can spend another 5-10 minutes in speaking about that. I don't know if there are anybody else in the chat today who are also in the same line as Sagar in terms of trying to get the talent hired for companies. See, as a executive, my dream was to have a list of talent who are not working with us, who could be approached at any given point of time. I always used to ask our HR to maintain a list like that because of the attrition and attrition probability. We used to do a lot of calculations, and then this list was always there. And whenever there is an attrition, whenever there is a need, we always had that list to get to. We never would search for candidates or go to headhunters, which has been a very rare situation. Otherwise, our HR only internally would have that list. And me as the business unit head and the senior guy in the company would review that list once in a month to make sure that for each profile, I've got at least about 2 to 3 times the potential attrition rate available in that list. Okay. Now, from that experience, I'm trying to translate if anything can be done in SIT. See, we are all startup companies. Most of us have difficulty in hiring because of the brand, because of the visibility. And the second thing, which Vinayak was talking about, the salary levels are not very high, which we cannot afford many a times. So in this situation, as the headhunter group, as the recruiter group, would it be possible for you guys to come together and then try to create some kind of a database of potential candidates who could come to a startup? Because there are people who are, what should I say, made for the startup. Those people who want to take risk, who want to really venture it out in life, and so that list is available. Whenever there is a requirement, we would get in touch with your team, for example. And if there is a available candidate there, then it will be the easiest thing to do. Can you think of something like that among the SIT members itself? Is the question. And again, LK, you are also there, and Manoj also must be there. What is your take on something like that? It's similar to what we have got when it comes to mentor-mentee, investor-investee. This people is possibly much more important than those two, because unless you have the right people, whatever we do will not really work out. Yeah. Sagar.
Dinakar, see, in this context, there is halfway that we have already done. There is something called as a SIT recruitment group that is formed. Around 1 month ago, we published this. Whoever is interested in this recruitment per se, we would want them to be in this group. At this moment, this group is particularly working on how to use technology in recruitment. Now, this idea of having a recruiter space and the candidate space and how we could utilize this is a great thought. We will, I would love to take this lead, and I would initiate this, that we can work out a modality of having a talent pool and how we could leverage that into SIT companies, those who are already on SIT. Now, why it becomes simple is because we want to be on a same platform. Why it becomes a little complicated over here is because all of our businesses is very related to hiring from the pool. Okay. Now, we will surely work on the modalities, and like-minded of us, we will surely get together and work on this modality.
Yeah. See, I feel when you look at the candidates, your candidates today come from Naukri, come from LinkedIn or references or whatever it is, right? They're all the people in the main cities. Now, if you look at startups, there are people who are really wanting to transform. There is the startup about Ayurveda. I think it was, what is her name?
Dr. Namrata.
Namrata is something fantastic, right? Or today I was in some other pitch deck presentations. People are talking about multiple things which are possibly makes a lot of sense to very few, right? So if there is some kind of a whatever campaigning we are talking about, see, if that could be taken over by the group of recruiters. When I say campaigning, brand building, you look at the SIT company, what Vinayak is doing, wonderful job.
Right.
In terms of understanding the company and profiling that company, and you are trying to promote that company amongst your group,
Right.
to really create this talent pool. So like we have got mentor to mentee and investor to investee, this could be another opportunity. LK, do you have any comment on that? Or if Manoj is there, you can also share your thoughts on that, please.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, Dinakar, and I applaud the efforts of Sagar that he's already volunteered to go for it, as always. And we should certainly talk about it and look at various profiles which come to us not just from the SIT background or not just from the SIT pool, but also non-SIT pool.
Correct.
So what we can do is we can pick up people from non-SIT pool and then place them accordingly in the SIT pool. And that way, I think we would have done a good job of identifying a feet for the shoe, if I may say so.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
this group is already existing, Manoj. We will work in this. I mean, we've already had 10 people in that, along with Ritu also is there. So we will look out. Uma Reddy as a recruiter is there, and the new girl from Mysore is also there. Then we've got Poonam, who's from Mumbai. Okay, so I will take up this initiative, try to reach out to all the recruiters, share them this idea of what we've discussed, and see what best we could do as SIT recruitment agency.
No, not SIT recruitment agency. I would say SIT
Recruitment
talent management agency. See, because I remember in Bosch, when I was there, we had companies who would only manage talent. Okay, so
Dinakar,
they would call me up, and they would call me up on behalf of Bosch, as if they are trying to give me a job in some other company. And then they would explain saying that I've called you up on behalf of Bosch only and all this. And then they would conduct an interview with me, a third party. Okay, he's conducting an interview with me to create a talent pool, an internal talent pool from a third party. They were managing this. Apart from me, they also had people from the other companies,
right,
where you just talk to them without really doing anything. And Bosch had done this as a kind of a employee initiative. To also keep the employees the option of looking for a different job in case something happens, whatever be the reason. So you are known in the industry. So this could be a kind of a promotion activity. At the same time, you are helping the SIT members. And from your side, you are getting more visibility. You are becoming more popular in the industry. And of course, once everything works out, then there'll definitely be some financials. I'm sure any company hiring would not have a problem in sharing some cost because of getting a good candidate, right? But that should not be the prime objective.
I'll get back to you, Dinakar, on this. The idea is good, but the modalities is what I would want to work over here, because it is a matter of time and effort. Okay, and for recruiters, time and effort is what money is. I will have to get back to my drawing board, talk to other recruiters over here, and I want to see how they want to take this.
We can also discuss this offline, Sagar, right?
Yes.
On what further opportunities are there.
Sure.
Then any other question from anybody? Anybody else have any question, any comment? That means all of us are very comfortable with hiring, is it?
No.
I have problems in getting a co-founder. Forget about hiring anybody. Many of the startup people here would like a co-founder, right? And
that's a big problem. Yeah.
Do I approach a recruitment agency for that, or how do I go about finding a co-founder?
Very good question. Very good question.
Dinakar, you've never approached as a recruitment agency, probably, because you've been hunting for this co-founder at your own references, etc.
No, approaching means what? What do you mean by approaching?
In the sense that, are you willing to pay the recruiter that particular fees, what a recruiter would want to invest his time to find a co-founder for you?
Yeah. So there again, that's a little dicey situation, because as a co-founder, he's coming in with an investment, right?
Right.
And how would you value that? Because the recruitment agency is trying to get some referral commission for the activity that they have done.
Yes.
And if you look at it in terms of the value, it is difficult to estimate. I can say it's only, I would have paid only that guy 1 lakh rupees a month, or 1 lakh rupees a year. So I pay you only 10,000 rupees. So there, I think one of the fundamental barriers that we need to break, in my opinion, is the concept of recruitment, the fee and the MOU and understanding. There was again some chat in our group, right? See, as a service provider, would it not make sense in really finding a solution first and then talk about money, like a normal business would do, even in the recruitment space?
Dinakar, see here, when you are going to get a co-founder, you are getting a great value to yourself, right? To your company. That means there is going to be a benefit to your company. So there has to be, whatever it is, there has to be some monetary thing that has to be agreed upon.
I agree. I'm not disagreeing that, Sagar, because moment you talk to any recruiter, like you just now reacted, the first thing would be to talk about the referral commission. See, I would really look at some 10 profiles. I could sign a MOU, say that, look, there is an understanding that if I recruit any of these, then I will share some money. Right. But even without that, the first step would be the referral commission. And that is something which possibly may not be very
No,
productive.
No. I would like to disagree. See, here it is not about how much you pay. It is not about that. The very understanding here, look, hunt for me for a co-founder, and we will agree to, like now what you said, look, give me certain profiles. I have not found everyone across the table to be a fine gentleman like you, where I know that my effort, when it is going to be fulfilled, I am going to be paid. Recently, there has been even an SIT a case where there has been infringement. So recruitment industry is filled with that. That is where almost 90% of the recruiters over there are always skeptical about it. And without even with agreement, there are always been infringements and unfaithful things that are happening. So with, because I know Dinakar, I know if not today, I know that I am going to be honored. Even if it is a rupee value of 1, I know the other intangible benefits are going to be there. But not everyone are going to be Dinakar. When you're talking about finding a co-founder, that is a different ball game and in a very broad perspective. But
so they
if
again
it is recruiter alone, then it is a different case. Now, not every recruiter.
My just small take on that, and then I'll close. And then Amar is waiting to conclude the session, so I will not take much time. See, in the situation that you described here today, the classical top recruiting companies in the world, Egon Zehnder, Korn Ferry, etc. Egon Zehnder is really damn good. They work with the topmost companies in the world. So there they all work on a retainer model, okay, and not on the percentage model.
Right.
The problem starts because most of the recruiters who are really working at the lower level jobs and even at a higher level jobs would try to work on a commission basis. Now, the commission basis will not work in that case. In my opinion, it is important for the recruitment group to really think of what kind of solutions can be worked about, what kind of business models can be thought about for finding such solutions. Okay, if you have to maintain a talent pool, then maybe you charge a kind of a retainer instead of talking about a percentage. So this proactivity and innovativeness should come from the recruitment team, in my opinion, because I felt quite sad going through that episode in the WhatsApp group. Anyway, thanks a lot, Sagar. Now, Amarji, would you like to please conclude as you always do at the end? Please go on.
Amarji, you're on mute.
Amarji, you are on mute.
Amarji, your mobile is on mute.
अनम्यूट हो गया सर इतना
अभी हो गया
First of all, good evening to all. I think so fabulous session on hiring the best with best practices. I think so that will lead, as I said, to many companies or industries, businesses to flourish in a good way. Yes, one very important point that infringement. We have to build trust in this industry, either by the hiring company or the person who's sending his profile. So he has to build that trust between both of us to get the best. And we should have that significantly in a bigger way so that all prosper. The hiring company prospers and the person who gets a job also prospers. That's my thought.
Thank you so much.
And,
thank you.
I think so. it's a great insight for people like me, even though in my own industry I don't have much people, but I've always tried to get the best. Even believe me, my tailoring section people, I pay them close to 25,000-30,000 just for tailoring. So you have to, if you want the best to come out, if you want the best, then you need to pay. You need to pay. Today, as we are growing globally, manpower deployment will be much in a higher scale. There will be industries that are forming big cartels to grow in a larger space. And everywhere, as we see significantly, artificial intelligence or monitoring is there. So at every stage, there will be need for manpower. There will be need for manpower. So this is a big leap this industry has, a great growth it has, and wish all of you are the very best on this.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And then if everybody can just turn on the cameras briefly, we take a small snap, which I can put in the thumbnail of our video. And then, oh, super. Thank you so much. And looking forward to the next week's Zit Chat. Thank you very much and good night.